In a galaxy far away, fear spread like wildfire. Planets trembled at the name of Xylar, the apex predator. Xylar was no ordinary creature. It was a giant beast with glowing yellow eyes and sharp claws that could tear through metal. Many warriors and hunters had tried to capture Xylar, but none had succeeded. Instead, they became its prey, swallowed whole by the beast. Stories of Xylar's ferocity echoed throughout the stars, making even the bravest shiver in terror. On a quiet planet named Serenthia, life was simple and peaceful. The people of Serenthia loved nature and lived in harmony with their surroundings. Among them was a young human named Alex. He was known for his adventurous spirit and fearless heart. While others preferred the safety of their homes, Alex loved to explore the forests and climb the highest mountains. He dreamed of one day seeing the galaxy beyond his planet. One sunny morning, Alex decided to venture deeper into the forest than ever before. He packed a small bag with food, water, and a shiny stone he found on a previous adventure. As he walked, he admired the vibrant flowers and listened to the songs of the birds. Little did he know that this day would change his life forever. Meanwhile, on a nearby planet, a group of skilled hunters prepared for a dangerous mission. They had heard tales of Xylar and wanted to prove their bravery by capturing the beast. The hunters had high-tech equipment and traps designed to catch even the fiercest creatures. They set their sights on Serenthia, believing it was a perfect place to find Xylar. Back on Serenthia, Alex continued his exploration. He climbed a steep hill to get a better view of the landscape. From the top, he could see the vast green fields stretching far and wide. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the air, shaking the ground beneath him. Alex's heart raced. He had never heard a sound like that before. Curiosity overcame his fear. He hurried down the hill, eager to find the source of the noise. As he approached a clearing, he spotted something massive moving among the trees. His eyes widened in disbelief when he saw Xylar. The creature stood tall, its powerful muscles rippling beneath its shiny skin. Xylar was fierce and magnificent, a true ruler of the wild. The hunters arrived just as Alex reached the clearing. They had tracked Xylar to this spot, and their excitement was palpable. They whispered to one another, making plans to trap the creature. Alex realized that the hunters were about to attack the very beast he had just admired. He couldn't let that happen. Without thinking, Alex stepped forward, raising his arms to get the attention of both Xylar and the hunters. "Wait!" he shouted, his voice trembling but determined. The hunters turned, surprised to see a human standing between them and the apex predator. Xylar paused, its yellow eyes locking onto Alex. The hunters laughed, thinking Alex was foolish. "Get back, kid! You don't want to mess with that thing!" one of them warned, but Alex stood his ground. He couldn't let them harm Xylar, a creature that had never harmed him. Just then, Xylar growled lowly, sensing the tension in the air. It took a step closer to Alex, intrigued by the human's bravery. In that moment, Alex felt a connection to the beast. He slowly lowered his arms and spoke softly, hoping to calm both Xylar and the hunters. "Please don't hurt it. Xylar is not a monster." The hunters looked at each other, unsure of what to do. They had never seen someone stand up to Xylar before. But the beast seemed to recognize Alex's courage. With a rumbling growl, Xylar stepped protectively closer to the human. In an instant, the forest erupted into chaos. Xylar, sensing danger, prepared to defend itself, and the hunters, shocked by the unexpected turn of events, drew their weapons. Alex stood between them, hoping to save both himself and the creature he had just come to admire. The forest erupted in chaos as Xylar's growl echoed through the trees. The hunters raised their weapons, aiming at the fearsome beast. Alex's heart raced as he stood between the hunters and Xylar, desperate to protect his new friend. The tension in the air was thick, and Alex knew that every moment counted. "Stand back, kid!" one of the hunters shouted, his voice filled with anger. "We're not afraid of that thing! It's just a monster!" But Alex refused to move. He felt a strange bond forming between himself and the giant creature. Xylar's eyes flickered with curiosity and confusion as it stared at Alex. Suddenly, the hunters opened fire, bright lights flashing as their weapons shot out stunning darts. Alex's instincts kicked in. "No!" he yelled, lunging forward to protect Xylar. The darts hit Xylar, but instead of falling, the creature roared in anger, its muscles bulging as it shook off the pain. Xylar charged at the hunters, its powerful legs propelling it forward like a bolt of lightning. The hunters scrambled to reload their weapons, fear creeping into their hearts. Alex watched in awe as Xylar defended itself, swiping its massive claws and sending the hunters flying. In the confusion, Alex saw an opening. "Run, Xylar! We need to get out of here!" he shouted, waving his arms. But Xylar hesitated, unsure whether to fight or flee. Alex took a deep breath, knowing that they had to escape before more hunters arrived. With a swift motion, Xylar grabbed Alex with its powerful jaws, careful not to hurt him. In an instant, the predator dashed into the depths of the forest, racing away from danger. Trees blurred past them as they fled, and Alex felt the wind rush through his hair. It was terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. After what felt like an eternity, Xylar slowed down, panting heavily. They reached a hidden cave nestled between giant rocks. Xylar gently placed Alex on the ground and stepped back, watching him with its yellow eyes. Alex's heart pounded, but he felt safe in the cave's cool shadows. "Thank you for saving me," Alex said, catching his breath. Xylar tilted its head as if trying to understand. The beast was still wary, but there was a flicker of something softer in its gaze. Alex took a step forward, extending his hand. "I'm not here to hurt you. I want to help." Xylar watched him for a moment before slowly lowering its head, allowing Alex to touch its snout. The bond between them deepened, and Alex could feel the creature's warmth. They were both scared but also curious about each other. But their moment of peace was short-lived. The hunters were relentless. They followed the trail, determined to capture the mighty predator and claim their prize. As the sounds of their voices grew closer, panic gripped Alex's heart. "We need to hide," he whispered urgently, looking around the cave. Xylar nodded, sensing the danger. Together, they moved deeper into the cave, finding a small nook behind a rock. Alex squeezed in, with Xylar crouching protectively beside him. The hunters entered the cave, their voices echoing as they searched for their prey. "It has to be here somewhere. Keep looking," one of them ordered. Alex held his breath, trying to stay silent. He could hear the hunters getting closer, their footsteps heavy and loud. Just when it seemed they might be discovered, Xylar let out a low growl, warning Alex of the approaching danger. The hunters froze, their eyes darting around. "Did you hear that?" one asked, fear creeping into his voice. In a bold move, Alex whispered to Xylar, "Let's scare them away." Xylar looked at him, and for the first time, it seemed to understand. With a deep breath, Alex shouted, "Get away from here! You don't want to mess with us!" The hunters exchanged startled glances, unsure of what to do. Seeing Xylar standing tall beside Alex, they finally decided to retreat. "Let's get out of here! We're not equipped to deal with that monster!" they yelled, rushing out of the cave. As the hunters fled, Alex and Xylar shared a look of relief. They had survived, but Alex knew this was only the beginning. Their bond was growing stronger, and he felt a sense of determination rising within him. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. After the hunters fled, the cave was silent once more. Alex and Xylar sat together, breathing heavily from their narrow escape. Alex looked at Xylar, whose yellow eyes still glowed with intensity. "We did it! We scared them away!" he exclaimed, feeling a rush of excitement. Xylar tilted its head, seeming to understand. It let out a soft rumble that sounded like a mix between a growl and a purr. Alex smiled, realizing that the creature was pleased. "We make a great team," he said, reaching out to gently pat Xylar's snout. Days passed, and Alex chose to stay in the cave with Xylar. He brought food from the nearby forest, always careful to share his meals with the great beast. Xylar, in return, protected Alex from any danger that lurked nearby. They developed a daily routine, each one learning from the other. Alex discovered that Xylar was not just a fierce predator, but also a curious creature. It watched Alex with great interest as he explored the forest, picking berries and gathering nuts. One day, as Alex was foraging, he decided to show Xylar something special. He found a beautiful flower with vibrant blue petals and carefully picked it. "Look at this," he said, returning to the cave. Xylar sniffed the flower, its nose twitching. "Isn't it pretty?" Alex smiled. Xylar's eyes widened, and it nuzzled the flower gently, as if appreciating its beauty. In that moment, Alex felt a deep connection with the creature. They were two beings from different worlds, yet they shared a bond that felt unbreakable. As the weeks went by, their friendship grew stronger. Alex taught Xylar about the world beyond the cave. He showed the creature how to find food in the forest and how to be cautious of hidden dangers. Xylar, in turn, taught Alex about the ways of the wild. It showed him how to move silently through the trees and how to recognize the signs of other animals. One afternoon, while they were exploring a nearby river, Alex noticed something unusual in the water. A group of hunters had set traps along the bank, likely hoping to catch Xylar if it came near. "We need to be careful," Alex whispered, feeling a knot of worry in his stomach. Xylar looked at him, sensing the tension. "Let's go around," Alex suggested, trying to keep their distance. They moved quietly, but suddenly a loud noise shattered the peace. One of the traps had sprung, startling nearby birds into flight. The hunters' voices echoed through the trees, and panic surged through Alex. "They're close," he said urgently, looking at Xylar. "We need to hide." They quickly retreated back into the forest, but Alex could hear the hunters growing nearer. His heart raced as he searched for a safe place to wait. Finally, they found a thick bush that concealed them from view. Alex crouched low, heart pounding in his chest. Xylar pressed against him, its powerful body providing a sense of safety. The hunters came into view, their expressions filled with frustration and determination. "Where did that creature go?" one shouted, kicking the dirt in anger. "It couldn't have escaped far." Alex held his breath, hoping they wouldn't find them. As the hunters searched the area, Alex whispered to Xylar, "Stay calm. We'll get through this together." Xylar responded with a low growl, its eyes fixed on the hunters. Just then, one of the hunters spotted movement in the bush. "Over there!" he yelled, pointing toward Alex and Xylar's hiding spot. Alex's heart sank. "Run!" he shouted, and Xylar burst from the bush, racing through the trees with Alex close behind. They sprinted through the forest, dodging branches and leaping over roots. Alex could hear the hunters shouting behind them, but he felt exhilarated. He trusted Xylar to lead the way, and together they fled deeper into the woods. Finally, they reached a hidden glen, a beautiful spot filled with sunlight and wildflowers. Here they paused to catch their breath. Alex looked at Xylar, whose eyes shone with excitement. "We did it again," he laughed, feeling a mix of fear and thrill. In that moment, Alex knew their bond was stronger than ever. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with, an unbreakable team against the challenges of the galaxy. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows over the forest. Alex and Xylar rested in their hidden glen, feeling safe for the moment. However, a feeling of unease hung in the air. Alex could sense that danger was not far away. "We need to keep moving," Alex said, looking at Xylar. "I don't want those hunters to find us again." Xylar responded with a low rumble as if it understood the urgency. Together they set off through the forest, moving silently among the trees. As they ventured deeper into the woods, Alex noticed the forest felt different. The sounds of birds and insects were muted, almost as if the animals sensed danger. He glanced at Xylar, whose ears were perked up, alert and cautious. "Something isn't right," Alex whispered. After a while, they stumbled upon a clearing filled with wildflowers and tall grass swaying in the breeze. It was beautiful, but Alex felt a knot tightening in his stomach. "Let's rest here for a bit," he suggested, hoping to shake off the feeling of dread. As they settled down, Alex noticed Xylar was unusually still, its gaze fixed on the tree line. "What is it, Xylar?" he asked softly. Just then, a faint rustling sound came from the bushes nearby. Alex's heart raced and he held his breath, listening intently. The rustling grew louder, and before they knew it, a group of figures emerged from the shadows. It was a band of hunters, their faces twisted in determination. "There it is!" one of them shouted, pointing at Xylar. "Get it!" Alex's heart sank. "We have to go now," he urged, but Xylar seemed frozen, its instinct to protect Alex taking over. "Xylar, please," he pleaded. Finally, the creature snapped back to reality and turned to run, with Alex close behind. They raced through the clearing, but the hunters were quick on their heels. The sounds of shouting and heavy footsteps echoed behind them. "Don't let it escape!" one hunter yelled, his voice filled with anger. Alex felt the ground beneath them shake as Xylar pushed forward, weaving through trees and leaping over fallen logs. The forest was a maze, but Alex trusted Xylar to lead them to safety. Suddenly, Xylar skidded to a halt at the edge of a steep cliff. "Xylar, what now?" Alex shouted, panic rising in his chest. Below them, a river rushed through the valley, the water sparkling in the sunlight. There was no way to turn back. The hunters were closing in, their shouts growing louder. "Jump!" Alex yelled, his voice filled with urgency. Without hesitation, Xylar leaped off the edge, landing on the rocky bank below. Alex held on tightly, heart pounding as they hit the ground. The impact knocked the breath out of him, but they had escaped the immediate danger. They ran alongside the river, panting heavily. The sound of rushing water drowned out the hunters' voices, and for a moment, Alex felt relief wash over him. "We did it! We're safe," he exclaimed, but his joy was short-lived. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the trees behind them. Alex turned just in time to see a hunter barreling down the slope, a determined look on his face. "There they are!" the hunter shouted, his eyes wide with excitement. "Keep running!" Alex urged Xylar, and they sprinted away from the riverbank. They had to find a new hiding spot before more hunters arrived. The forest was dense, but Alex's mind raced as he searched for an escape. They ran for what felt like hours, zigzagging through the trees until they found a narrow cave hidden behind a waterfall. "In here!" Alex urged, pointing toward the darkness. They slipped inside just as the sounds of the hunters grew closer. Inside the cave, the air was cool and damp. Xylar crouched low, its breath heavy and quick. Alex could feel the tension radiating from the creature. "We'll be okay," he whispered, trying to calm both himself and Xylar. But deep down, Alex knew they were in grave danger. The hunters were relentless, and their numbers were growing. They had to think of a plan to escape and ensure their safety. As they sat in the dark cave, Alex looked at Xylar, determination in his eyes. "We'll find a way out of this," he promised, and Xylar let out a soft growl of agreement. Outside, the sun set, casting the forest in shadow. The hunters were searching, and the danger was closer than ever. Alex knew the bond between him and Xylar was their greatest strength, and together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. Inside the dark cave, the sound of rushing water from the waterfall masked their presence. Alex and Xylar huddled close, their breaths heavy with anxiety. The hunters were still outside, searching for them. Alex's heart raced as he listened for the slightest sound that might signal danger. "Xylar, we need to come up with a plan," Alex whispered, trying to think clearly. The cave felt cold and damp, and he wished they could escape the shadows. Xylar looked at him, its yellow eyes shining brightly in the dim light. There was an understanding between them. They were in this together. As the minutes passed, the sounds of the hunters faded away. Alex carefully peeked outside. He saw the last remnants of sunlight slipping below the horizon, leaving the forest cloaked in twilight. "It seems they've gone for now," he said, relief washing over him. "But we can't stay here long. We need to find a safer place." Xylar nodded, and together they moved toward the cave's entrance. The waterfall cascaded down, creating a curtain of sparkling water that concealed their escape. They slipped through the water, emerging on the other side, feeling fresh and invigorated. The forest was peaceful, and the stars began to twinkle overhead. Alex took a deep breath of the cool night air, feeling a mix of excitement and uncertainty. "Let's head to that mountain," he suggested, pointing to a distant peak. "It might be a good place to start fresh." They began their journey toward the mountain, moving quickly and quietly through the trees. Alex felt a sense of freedom. They had escaped the hunters, but he knew they could return at any time. "We have to be careful," he reminded Xylar, whose keen senses were always on alert. As they approached the base of the mountain, Alex noticed a series of caves carved into the rock. "Look at those!" "We could make a home there," he said, feeling hopeful. They explored the caves, finding one that was spacious and dry, with a small opening that allowed light to pour in. "This is perfect!" Alex exclaimed, excitement bubbling inside him. They set to work, clearing out debris and making the space feel welcoming. Xylar helped, using its strong claws to move rocks and branches. Together, they turned the cave into a cozy haven. As days passed, Alex and Xylar settled into their new life. They learned to hunt and gather food together, and Xylar became more comfortable with Alex's presence. They spent time playing and exploring the surrounding forest, forming a strong bond that grew deeper each day. One afternoon, while foraging for food, Alex stumbled upon a small group of creatures, a family of small, furry animals. They watched curiously as Alex picked berries. "They're harmless," he said, feeling a surge of joy. "We can share our home with them, too." Xylar watched the creatures with interest, and soon they became friends. The small animals would come to visit the cave, and Alex would feed them berries. It felt like they were creating a family together, and Alex's heart swelled with happiness. However, the hunters were still a threat. Alex knew they wouldn't stop searching for Xylar. He decided it was time to teach Xylar how to defend itself even more. "We need to practice," Alex said one day, determination in his voice. "We can't let anyone take you away from me." They found an open area near their cave, where they could practice without fear of being discovered. Alex taught Xylar how to use its strength to protect itself. They played games of agility, with Alex running and Xylar chasing after him, jumping over obstacles and dodging trees. As time went on, Xylar became stronger and more confident. Alex could see the change in the creature, and it made him proud. They were not just partners anymore. They were a team. One evening, as they sat outside their cave watching the sunset, Alex felt a sense of peace. "We've come a long way, Xylar," he said softly, looking at the creature beside him. "This is our new beginning." Xylar nudged him gently, its eyes sparkling in the fading light. Alex realized that despite the challenges they faced, they had created a life together, filled with adventure and joy. They had formed a bond that was unbreakable. In that moment, he understood that no matter what dangers lay ahead, they would face them together, side by side. As the stars twinkled above, Alex smiled, feeling grateful for the friendship they had forged. They were ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing they had each other to rely on. This was just the beginning of their incredible journey together.